Welcome to week 8 of Meatsweats and Menopause. I'm Joe Gleason, Midwestern man, and with me is my co-host and beautiful partner, Kirsty Jane, the Brit Chick. This is week 8. I got that right this week, right? Like, because last week I messed up what week we were on. So this is week 8 of our podcast where we say we're the 2 hottest people on the internet, and we're not talking about our like we're not being vain, right? We're like
we're just hot.
It's Meatsweats and Menopause, and being here in the Phoenix Valley, like, man, it's getting hot fast around here. So
I think we should add another adjective. We should say hot and stiff, because as I found out today earlier, try to get up. I can't move. See, you think it's all going to be like, spoiler alert, you think it's all going to be rude and pornographic. No, I literally was sitting down on the floor on the concrete, went to stand up, and my knees were locked. I was like, what the hell? I feel like I'm 85. You had to pull me up. So hot and stiff, that's what I would say.
There we go. So yet another example of the trials and tribulations of being Gen X and entering well, I guess we've been in midlife for a little while, right? Mm-hmm. We're not kids, and we're not like, elderly or anything. So
in my brain, I'm still like 22. So
yeah, I was talking to my daughter I was talking to Jillian last week about this. Like, we've done some walks here recently where we're trying to get our steps and do our activities, right?
Right.
And we were talking with that, and I remember my grandma telling me when I was probably about 10 years old, my grandma, who at the time was probably, I don't know, mid not far from our age right now, mid 50, she was probably in her mid 50s. I'm early 50s. You're early mid 50s. All right.
It just is what it is, right?
right. So I remember talking to my grandma about that. What's up, Robert? Thanks for joining, guys. Thanks for joining. Yeah, I remember talking to my grandma about that, and she said that, and I couldn't make it make sense at the time, because she said that she felt the same in her mind as she did when she was like a teenager or a 20-something, but just that she was a 50-something at the time.
Right.
And I just couldn't make that make sense. I'm like, in my mind then as a 10-year-old, I'm like, you're old, Grandma. Like, now here I am, and it's like, I totally get it. Yeah. So
yeah, I totally get that. So here's a question for you.
Yeah.
Would you rather have the body of a 20-year-old, but the bank account and life stress of your current self? Or would you rather have 10 million in the bank, but the physical aches and energy levels of an 80-year-old, which is kind of how I feel right now?
Yeah. Well, you've already got that. Oh no, this isn't.
I have 10 million in the bank.
Right. So that's kind of a bust question, right? It's like, if I'm already having to deal with the pain, but I don't have the multiple tens of millions. So I would say, read them again, just real quick.
The body of a 20-year-old.
Nothing else, just the body.
Body of a 20-year-old and the bank account and life stress of your current self. So just the way you are, but your
20
physical. Yeah, your body and your energy and your fitness levels and strength is of a 20-year-old. Or
well, I was 20, or just a typical. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, 20-year-old girl.
Oh no.
Yeah, or the body and energy of an 80-year-old, but 10 million in the bank.
Okay, so it's only two. There's only 2 scenarios.
Yeah, 2 scenarios. Pick one. Would you rather?
I think I would rather take the body of a 20-year-old, not a 12-year-old. 20-year-old.
We're going into all sorts of territory here. I don't know why I've got this white thing above my head. It keeps popping up. It's very distracting. So
Robert says he'll take the cash and live in Mexico.
Yeah.
Hey, now that would be a great way too. Like, can we add some extra sort of like seasoning to these scenarios?
Well, you could do that, but you got the body of an 80-year-old, so you're gonna have a hard time.
So it's my current financial, but I know what I know. I just have, it's like my financial situation, but I've got the body of my 20-year-old self, or I'm 80 and I'm like hurting, I'm in pain, and but I got tens of millions of dollars or whatever, right?
Right.
I think I would rather take the youthfulness and my knowledge and then just figure out, like, I'm not like homeless and starving. So like, it's like I got a pretty good life overall, but to be 20 again and know what I know now, fuck. I mean, that would be. I mean, golly jeepers. I didn't mean to drop an F-bomb, or did I?
Holy jeepers.
Yeah, I gotta censor myself. Yeah, well, like think about like if you know now, like if you were 20 and know what you now know and what you've learned in your life experiences, like good lord. I mean that's like a crazy.
It would be like genius level, wouldn't it?
I mean, I wouldn't proclaim myself to be a genius now. But
for a 20-year-old with the knowledge that you've got.
Yeah. Like the life experience that you've attained at this point. Like we've had triumphs and failures in business. We've raised kids with triumphs and failures there too. We've both have been married and divorced. We both have done some traveling around the world. We both have just sort of like, figured some things out and know what you want and what you don't want. When I was 20, I didn't know crap. I mean, I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know what I didn't want. I just was like young and excited to go take life on. I had a ton of energy, and I just think with that energy and my current perspective, that I feel like I would be like unstoppable. Like because I don't have the energy. I don't have the energy now, but I definitely wouldn't. I wouldn't want to be 80 and like homebound and like not 80 and active and 80 and that kind of stuff. Like maybe, but I just wouldn't want that sort of like I wouldn't want that not to have the zest for life part of it,
Yeah.
You got like a thought bubble. Like what I see is like you've got like a thought bubble above your head because of the AI like background. You look like you're like Snoopy you're like Snoopy thinking you're gonna think like you make a comment, right?
It's so weird. What is that? It looks like it's my brain working. Look.
I know.
It's like
you can see your brain working, but there's just nothing in that bubble. Like
it's really weird. I don't know what that is.
Hey, does everyone else see that?
I have no idea. I'm working overtime. Robert says the better question is 10 million today, but there is no tomorrow. That makes 10 million not look so good.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, like if you're 80, the time out in front of the windshield is not as much as what you have in your rearview mirror, right? So like maybe that's definitely a good perspective too. Because you can't take it with you, as they say, and so like to be able just to have that longevity or to have that youthfulness and I seriously am so distracted by that thought bubble above your head. Like,
I'm trying to move so it's not there. I'm like, why is that there? It wasn't there last time.
I don't know. Maybe so here's part of what I think's going on is that like we had and we can come back to this. This is a great question. And do you have more would you rathers?
There's loads. This is like
yeah, it was a good idea.
I have to say this is probably the most down to the wire unprepared show we've ever done. Right. I mean, we were 3 minutes late because I was still typing up the link to get to this 1 minute past. We've been racing around all day long. So, we can talk about whatever we want to talk about today. It's wide open because we don't have a big plan on this one. So,
imagine the party we could have for $10 million, Robert.
Right? Like, he said we can have one big ass party for the night.
Yeah, no, and if we were in Mexico, the peso would stretch even further. Like,
right? Yeah, totally.
So yes, back to the we were up against it time wise. This week life has sort of happened. We've had a few curveballs that we didn't anticipate, and cool, I guess that here we are to tell the tale. But the time difference also shifted too. So I wonder if part of the folks that were showing up that were thinking it was going to start at 7 and the folks that thought it was going to start at 8 and we're starting at our same time.
Yeah, we're the same.
But the folks that are in other time zones that they shifted and we did not, they might have thought that we scuttled this week's episode. So, but here we are, committed to the bit. We're in the moment, in the zone.
It's about the only thing that we've remained committed to. It's episode 8, so we're week 8. Both of us, we're not good at routine. We don't like doing the same things all the time.
We're committed. We're like committed friends. We're committed to each other. We're committed to our family.
Yeah, but routine. We're both ADHD, so we're not very good at sticking to time.
Squirrel. Yeah.
We're really not. Like, we're just all over the place all the time. It's very hard. Like, we don't eat at the same time every day. We don't get up at the same time. We don't go to bed at this. Like, most people have a routine, and we really don't. Like, we're all over the map. So for us to actually show up at the same time every week consistently, I think is like it's a major hurdle.
Every day is a new adventure. And maybe if we had the wisdom in our 20-year-old bodies, maybe we would get some consistency and some routine. I don't know. Maybe that's one of the things that we would implement, right?
I think this is a good lesson for us. I think it's like therapy almost. It's like forcing us to show up at the same time every week, no matter what. And it's just getting closer. Like every week we got closer and closer and closer to the wire. But we can still show up with no plan and go, hey, we're here. We can talk for an hour. That's quite amazing.
Well, I mean, you talk to yourself for an hour all the time.
True. Same.
Yeah, there you go. So thank you for those of you that have joined in and who are participating. Robert, thank you. And I know it's not just Robert. Shout out to everyone over there at the Moronas.
I can't see who they are, but
right. But thank you to everyone at the Moronas Casa de la Moronas that is over there. It's a whole fiesta of support over there, and we all appreciate that. So shout out to all the kids and all the folks who are handy at fixing cars and folks that Jeremy, you know who you are. Thanks, bro.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a week.
We've had some automotive challenges this week in the family. One of our family vehicles has decided that it needed some TLC, and it's like that. It's kind of like that Guns N' Roses song, Mr. Brownstone. A little was a little until a little got more and more. It's like every time one thing would get uncovered, it was like, oh, by the way, go check this out. Like, got something else to show you. Right? Like, so it's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we're having a watch party. Just missing Gigi. Yeah.
Yeah. Gianna's working. I'm repping Gianna though. I got her tattoo shop. I'm repping the shop. So I'm in solidarity with the support of Gianna, and so very good. And when I'm not sure if Brendan's on, but I will let him know, since he's the most curious about all of my sourdough adventures every week. I did attempt it was a jalapeno cheddar sourdough. I didn't have any of it, but by all accounts, it sounds like it wasn't a disaster. So Brendan, if and when you ever watch this, just want to give you the latest incantation. What's the word I'm looking for?
Reincarnation? No. What are you trying to say?
The latest incantation of sourdough? Like, is that's not
the
word?
No, the latest yeah, I know what you're trying to say.
Version?
Yeah. Oh, so now that's going to bother me. I'm going to have like a squirrel running around in my brain for the rest of the show now, trying to remember
at
that.
2 a.m. You'll wake up.
Unless somebody else can put it on there. You know, I know exactly what you're trying to say. No, it's not carnation, is it? But that's where I keep going with it. Yeah, I can't remember, but I know what you're saying. But then versions, just use that word.
Let's just stick with version.
Yeah.
And so it's 24 hours later after everyone's eaten it. Nobody has gone to the hospital or reported any food poisoning. So all of those things, just, so far so good. And by the way, Angelica, let it be stated here, on Meatsweats and Menopause and week 8 of Meatsweats and Menopause, Angelica has her own sourdough that is totally hers, to not like let anyone else dabble with, because things went a little sideways last night with sourdough, and poor Angelica, who kind of started this whole thing with that last night. So anyway, Angelica, you got your own earmarked just for you. And thank you, Robert. Didn't last the night. And now we're back to being 80 and millionaires.
I was going to say, like a lot of other things we can talk about with, like, beer. That doesn't last the night.
Well,
what else?
I have nothing. I've gone silent.
Chocolate, maybe that wouldn't last the night.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's another question for you. I like these questions. I think they're good. Would you rather give up caffeine forever or processed sugar? Which one? Pick one.
I'll probably go, as much as I love caffeine, I would probably, in reality, health wise, I would go caffeine or sugar, but like that's just like, that's so, like, sugar is so systemic in our food right now that it's hard, like, because if you really get into the work of like, I'm not doing sugar, that's a really tough task. Caffeine's not as tough for me because I just drink a couple of cups of coffee in the morning and that's it. I don't drink pop or soda or whatever you call it. I don't do energy drinks at all. Never even had one.
I think you're right. Actually, I think it's easier to give up caffeine because sugar's in literally everything. I mean, I've done no sugar. I think the longest I ever did that was for about a year.
Yeah, and that's work. Like to me, to like you go through a couple of days of a headache without coffee. And I love coffee. It's great. Like it's kind of like morning is completely coffee, but like, but I think that once you kind of go through those first couple days of, headaches or the habit or whatever, that would be pretty, I think that would be easier than the sugar, because sugar's everywhere. It's in weird things that you wouldn't even expect it to be in. Right. If you're really doing the work of like giving up processed sugar, right?
Like beer.
Ooh, well, you just lost me right there.
Right. Cheers. Exactly. It is everywhere. It's so hard, especially when, I know that's what she said, but when you miss out, like Christmas, birthdays, celebrations, it's just everywhere. It's really hard to do that. So, what's Robert said? There's been a handful of nights that beer ran out, mostly
Poncho Sanchez
nights.
That's when
get on to the harder stuff.
That's when Robert and I, like, we dial it back, and it get like Poncho Sanchez is a he does bongos, and he used to play with Santana, the musician Santana, and he's from the same town that Robert is from.
Is it Carlos Santana?
Carlos Santana, yep. Yeah. And but Poncho Sanchez was in his band and is from the same town as Robert. So like, he's like, have you ever, like years ago when we first became friends, he's like, have you ever heard of Poncho Sanchez? And I was like, no. So like, just sort of like, we'd stay up late and we'd, have a couple glasses of milk or water or healthy things. I'm pretty sure.
Yes,
no, we drink
Kombucha,
our beers,
right? Yeah,
right, yeah. And we would we'd listen to Poncho Sanchez, and it's super like, it's just very cool, like background, like and when you just kind of get into the, you get into these, like, after you've had a few beers, you get pretty philosophical, and and Poncho Sanchez facilitates all of that wisdom just pouring out. Like there's people who really should have like probably had a documentary or something made about all the wise things that came out of our conversations. So Robert, caffeine, everyone there, do a survey, like caffeine or sugar. What say you, right?
Does Robert even drink coffee? I don't think I've ever seen him drink coffee.
Yeah, he drinks instant coffee. Remember that stuff? Remember what he was doing in Mexico?
Yes.
Remember, you're the only one I know that drinks instant coffee and doesn't like convulse about it. Like, cheers to you, man. That's impressive. His coffee standards and your coffee standards are very different. Yeah,
I am a little bit of a coffee snob. I love me a really good espresso. No, I just. Yeah, I don't want to drink the sticky tar that's been sitting in a pot forever.
She will not drink
espresso.
She will not drink drip coffee. So that's like,
nasty.
And who are you to say no to drip coffee?
I'm Kirsty. I have choice and freedom. I used to be a barista.
Who do you think you are? Yeah,
exactly.
You think you have the illusion of choice. You don't actually have choice.
Oh, really? According to who?
The government.
Oh,
we're gonna get into conspiracy theories now.
yes. Let's. So, what was that? I'd want to go without caffeine any day.
Anyway,
you don't like. Yeah.
Thanks, Jones.
You don't like coffee though. So that's an easy fix, right?
Yeah, but caffeine is not just in coffee. It could be in
true.
soda. It could be in the energy
Iced
drinks
tea,
or
all of
any of
those.
things.
What are the drinks that you guys go get?
The Monsters or
Dutch Bros, all that
Dutch
kind of
Bros.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dutch Bros. What crack do they put in? Because that like their generation is like nuts for Dutch Bros. It's
yeah, I think our generation was Starbucks. Like that was like really like me. I remember being 18, 19, 20, and it was just like that was the thing. I used to have like 3 a day.
I never heard of
go on.
I never heard of Starbucks until I think I probably graduated college. It wasn't in my world. I didn't even drink coffee until college. I don't think I really drink caffeine at all, really.
Actually, thinking about it, and now I'm thinking, I was probably in my mid-20s. Because I remember it was, it's probably my mid-20s because I was working in London and I had to go past Starbucks to get to work. So I would have one like on the way home. I'd have 2 or 3 a day. It was ridiculous the amount of money I used to spend in there. So, yeah.
But you were young and you were, it was before kids and all that stuff. And so the discretionary income was a little different than once you kind of become...
well, my kids and my dog grew up on it. Well, because Starbucks opened literally 3 doors from my house, so that's why I used to take my kids to be entertained, to entertain me, for me to go buy my sanity, and then my dog obviously would have a pop cup thing. So yeah, it just a puppuccino.
A puppuccino, right? That's right. Well, you were a barista for a while too, right? So that might explain your disdain for for instant coffee and the powdered stuff, right?
Yeah,
because you actually
once
know
you've had decent coffee, it's hard to go back. I mean, it's like beer. Like you probably drank all sorts of swill when you were, a young man in your college days or after college days, but now you're more distinguished beer drinker.
Am I?
You know what you're like? Yes, you like all your special IPAs and your special brews and
craft beer.
Craft beer, yeah, that's what
micro brews, craft beer. I can see what you're saying. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep.
We mature, don't we? I mean, I didn't even drink. Yeah, I think you don't. I think it's got something to do with your age, actually, and your taste buds. Like a lot of people don't get, like, it's the things with tannins, because like coffee has tannins, red wine has tannins, like the really strong beers have tannins. And so that doesn't really start to hit your taste repertoire until I think you're
Did you just say repertoire?
Early 20s. I did. Do you know what that is?
Wow, fancy.
You like that word? You can talk about that. My beer repertoire.
you must be a barista.
Maybe.
Did you ever like make beer?
I didn't. My dad did.
Okay.
My dad used to make beer and wine. But no, I never made it.
I think, Robert, since you're here, I think you and I should learn how to make homemade beer. I mean, it's kind of a natural progression from sourdough, if you ask me. It's kind of the next thing, really, right? Like,
yes, I guess so. I mean, it might be cheaper, but then you probably just drink more. So,
what's up, Rubes?
Hey, Rubes is at the house.
Hello.
Now, Rubes, she's one that is now into the red wine and the coffee and everything. We were just talking about red wine, coffee, beer, like your taste buds change as you get older. Because I never used to drink any of that stuff when I was young. It was just too bitter and nasty. So I think as you get older, something shifts.
I didn't start drinking until I was a couple years into college. So I didn't drink at all in high school. So I was probably 19 or 20 before, because I started college when I was 17. So I was probably 19.
Okay.
When I started drinking beer, and there was this local beer that was made in Wisconsin. I grew up in Illinois, and you used to have to go in and put a deposit. Remember when you used to, like, when you do that for like pop can or soda bottles, like you'd pop or soda bottles, you'd go in and put a couple $1 deposit down, and then like you bring the bottles back, and you can just either pay it forward or so same thing with this beer at the liquor store, which is the only beer that had a deposit. It was called Huber beer, and it was made in Huber, Wisconsin. And I'm gonna guess that like maybe a case of beer at the time maybe cost like, I don't know, $12 or $15. A case of Huber beer was $6. $6. Yep. And so when I was in my early 20s and when I was first drinking, like I didn't really get hungover because you're so young, you just kind of don't. I mean, if you really tied one on, it would happen, but for the most part, didn't ever get hungover. Huber beer, it was the one that you didn't pay for it on the front end.
Right.
Like where you pay for the price of the beer, you pay for it on the back end with the guaranteed hangover. So if Vince or my brother or any of those guys were on right now, they would remember Huber beer. And good Lord, that stuff got rot. It yeah. How old am I? I never returned bottle. Yeah, like that. So this is what's funny to me.
Yeah.
This whole thing of the 90s was like, because I remember when I was in college, there was this whole thing to push recycling, reduce, reuse, recycle. Right. I remember that being pounded into our heads in the early to mid 90s. And it's like, well, you guys kind of created the problem because soda/pop bottles all were being recycled. They would, you'd get the deposit, drink your soda and then take the bottles back, and then they would wash them out and reuse them. Like we were recycling, but then nope, wasn't good enough. We gotta, put it in a plastic bottle. And
did you guys have bottle depots in the US, like where you go and you collect all your bottles and then you go and take them to the bottle depot and they give you money back?
No, because we would normally like the bottles, like there were recycling places where you could go take. I guess that's what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you have those? Like now? I'm not talking about way back. I'm talking about like now.
Yeah, like where you take it. You could take the aluminum and you go get paid. Like I don't know. Like I remember we weren't that far from Michigan. In Michigan, you could get paid 10 cents per can if you go recycle it, and that was like huge money. So people would like collect it and then drive it across the border to Michigan and get however much they would get for it. So yeah, we had that.
Because that was like in in Calgary anyway, in Canada. It just shocked me. I never forget, like when I first got to Calgary, and I couldn't believe, like the thing that hit me more than anything else coming from England was that the streets were completely clean. There was no litter, there was no rubbish, garbage, whatever you want to call it. It was just spotless. And I was like, how do they keep the streets clean? I remember my dad saying to me, because all the homeless people go around picking up all the litter and they get paid for it. I was like, shut up. He goes, no, I'm serious. I was like, what? And when you go downtown, that's what you would have. It was like all the homeless people would walk around with a shopping cart that they'd stolen from from a grocery store and collect all the bottles, all the cans, everything. And then they would go take them to the recycling thing that's downtown and they'd get money. And I was like, that's actually really clever. But at the same time, it kept the streets really clean because it's just not like that. It's probably one of the biggest things you would notice, actually, if you went back to England now. You would just feel like it's dirty and there's just trash everywhere. And it's just because you're driving along, people just chuck out bottles and cans out their window when they're driving along. And I just feel like in Canada, for sure, I don't know so much about here, people just would never do that.
Yeah, that's one big difference between, again, I grew up in a small town, for those of you who may be new to the podcast. I grew up in a small town a couple hours west of Chicago. And then after school, moved to the suburbs. And so I spent a lot of my early to mid 20s before I started a family, like where we would just go into the city and, go out with my college buddies and stuff. And in Chicago was very clean, like for a metropolitan city, like it was safe to be around downtown Chicago at night. It was very clean. There were homeless folks and there was, some of that kind of stuff, but by and large, it was very, very clean. I went to New York back in, I don't know, maybe 12, 13 years ago. One of the things that stood out to me between New York and Chicago, both as sort of like, rival big major cities, was that New York had bags of garbage everywhere. There was like just trash, like where that's what the trash companies wanted. Like that's where you're supposed to put your garbage, was like just right on the street. Right. It's like, wow, for a major city, like I'm just surprised, like the sanitation, like that's how they handled that. Which is, I don't know, just one of the things it's probably, openly debatable, which is better in New York or Chicago or even LA. All due respect to all of my LA friends and family watching here. LA is totally different though. It's more spread out. It's not as like old. Like I feel like Chicago and New York and Philadelphia and some of those cities are like, they're just enough older to where it feels like like LA's more modern. Like it was born like once like it was kind of like it grew once cars were already invented, and Chicago and New York were more like old school, you know?
Yeah, I suppose so. They are older cities. I think Phoenix is really similar to Calgary. I think like if you didn't know where you were, you could almost think you were in the same place, because it's got that same feel. It's very modern. The layout is the same. It's very clean. A lot of the systems are the same. But both of them are absolutely nothing like London, which is like super old.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you definitely.
I think London, New York, Chicago, Philadelphia, Boston, those types of cities.
Yeah,
like,
old school places.
London's the oldest of, Paris, all those like you're like what we call the old world. We're the new world, you know.
Be Tartarian.
Oh, we'll have to, for those conspiracy theorists out there, we'll have to get into that one later. Jills, let's get some Tartaria spooled up, right? But yeah, the like Phoenix, LA, the cities out here on the west side of the United States are definitely more they're more based on a car, having like automobiles rather than trains and horses and stuff like that. So definitely more condensed. The population density just feels way more like just completely on top of each other for like London and New York and Chicago. But so Robert got lost. Robert, I've known you for 15 plus years, and I've never heard the story of how you were lost at Union Station in LA. And like, was Steven with you, or were you like just lone wolfing this whole experience? Like, what was the deal? Like, we need to talk about this because I heard about how your dad
was this just recently?
Yeah.
Was this as a child?
This was not when I was a kid. It was like 2 weeks ago.
It might have been. I mean, you never know.
Isn't that funny? Like, so Robert tells the story about how when he was a kid, and this is just how like Gen X versus like the boomers versus like what was allowed when we were kids, what that is absolutely not tolerated now is Robert's dad. And this wasn't a bad thing. This was just like a lot of parents did this. It's not like he was like a neglectful parent or anything. He just would like take Robert and his brother down to Dodger Stadium, drop them off at the ball game, and say, "Be back right here when the game gets over in a couple hours because I got to go to do some work," and thought nothing of it. Like, I don't know if we grew up in safer times or like it was just parents were like they just marched to the beat of a different drum. But could you imagine leaving like a 10-year-old? I'm going to guess. I don't know for sure, Robert, how old you were, but let's say you were 10, 12, 13 years old. Like, could you just imagine leaving a 12-year-old kid or a 10-year-old kid at a Major League Baseball game on no adult supervision whatsoever? Just go have fun. Here's a couple bucks for a hot dog and a soda.
Couple of bucks. It definitely wouldn't be now. That'd be about $50 for a hot dog and a soda.
Yeah, we went to a spring training game. I don't know what, a little over a week, 10 days ago, and just for like one, I was driving at 13 or 14. Sure. Yeah. Yep. For sure. Like, yeah. And it was, you better get yourself to school. Right, Robert? Yeah. I was riding the city bus to school when I was 7 years old. And I remember, I think I told the story already on the podcast in the past, but I would ride the city bus. And if I didn't, it was a dime to get from where I lived to the school stop. And, if I didn't have the dime, the bus driver was not a nice experience. The guy was just, I don't know if he had some personal problems at home. I don't know what he was going through, but the dude was just triggered and angry all the time. So if you didn't have your dime, you were in trouble. And we were latchkey kids. So, we came home to an empty house and all that stuff. So it was just a different era, and, we got sidetracked from your questions. I'm sorry.
I don't even remember what the question was. So I'm just going with it. But no, that's cool.
Yeah, we're just riffing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what was the
I know
question?
times were very different. I mean, I used to stay at my grandparents' house in Suffolk, in the middle, or Norfolk, actually. rural England, very, very small town. And me and my cousins would just disappear. I mean, I was probably like 5, 6, maybe. We'd just go out and they wouldn't see us until like, well, come back when it's dark. But we would be out in the woods, smashing things up, lighting fires, running around, like breaking into people's backyards, stealing apples, like all sorts of things. As long as we were home before it got dark, then yeah, it was okay. But
there were no rules other than be home before dark.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that now? Oh my God.
I don't know. Like, is the world a safer place, or was it just as dangerous when we were kids and we just didn't know any different? Yeah.
Exactly. Ruby says that's how I felt in Langdon, right? So Langdon is very out. Oh, it's in Calgary, just outside of Calgary, right? So I don't even know how many
it's like a rural community, or it's a...
Yeah, it'd be called like a hamlet. Do you have that word here?
Hamlet is one of Shakespeare's plays.
Right? Yes, but when it's referring to the size of a village, like you have town, village, like a hamlet would be something where there's maybe like, I don't know, a corner store and maybe a post office and something like that. And you know, maybe a gas station, and then it's just a few houses or whatever like that. That's kind of what you would call a hamlet.
A hamlet is a town.
No, it's
according to Katana, it is. It's small. It's a
town is much bigger than a hamlet, but yes, it's an area, a town where everyone knows everyone. Yeah, but it's very small, smaller than a village.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay, so now we know, and so that's how Ruby felt when she was out. Or was it called Langdon? Yes.
Yes, indeed. It has grown now. It has got bigger now. But yeah, it was like that. But did you liked it then, Rubes, right? I think it was Sadie that didn't like it because Sadie's more of a city girl, which is what I used to be like when I was her age and young. I used to like cities.
Yeah, we should do another episode where we talk about it's probably too much to get into with the time we've got left and such, but about how like philosophies change with that sort of thing, right? Like when I first met you, you were very not pro Second Amendment, kind of against the whole idea of like citizens having guns, and like now we've kind of see some things happen, and I know it kind of can be a sticky wicket. Maybe it's too much for this episode of Meatsweats and Menopause, but yeah, it's. I grew up around guns. They were like, it's just so in our culture that it was not like it wasn't a big deal. And for you, it was like, what the hell? Like, I remember the first time you came down to visit and we were in a Fry's and that dude had a pistol on. He was just open carry here in Arizona. He's just carrying a pistol on his
belt.
No big deal. And we're just, we're over there in the dairy section getting some shredded cheese, and there old boy is, just guns a-blazing. And so like, I remember like, you were like, what? Whoa, that's like, that dude's got a gun. You're like, yeah. It's a big deal. Like, anyway,
it's totally
we'll have to get into that. And as our show gets to altitude and we want to get into some of the more meaty stuff and the bigger topics, but yeah, just interesting how your city slicker your whole life, and then like can now see some of the merits of quieter life, right?
It's interesting, like the things that you feel secure with, because like where I was born, like when we did this last week when I was looking up, because you were saying, oh, I came from a tiny place, and I was like, I did too. It was like where I was born actually had like 1,500 people in it, like where I was born, but I didn't grow up there, and I got closer and closer to the city as I got older. Right. So once I was in my teen years, I was living in northwest London, so I was right in the thick of it. And to me, that felt safer, like walking through the, Soho in the streets of London at 2 a.m, which I frequently did because I've been out clubbing and stuff. Like, I felt so much safer. It felt like, I don't know, I just felt at home. I felt safe. And even now, like, I feel safe in cities and towns like that. But the idea of like walking, like when I moved to Canada, and obviously it's huge and it's just like expansive countryside and so on. And, just going out in the woods or going for a walk, like by myself, is terrifying, because all I'm thinking out is, if anyone tries to, I don't know, kidnap me, molest me, or murder me, or a bear comes out, it's like no one's going to hear me scream. I'm literally out here alone in the middle of nowhere. That's terrifying. Or the idea of being, living out somewhere in the middle of nowhere. Although my older self now thinks, oh my God, that's beautiful. I would love that. I'd love the peace and quiet. People drive me crazy.
Well, when we go to Mexico,
don't want that.
It's very quiet, I love that, and tranquil.
But it's still terrifying at nighttime because it's just like no one's gonna know where you are. You just
the coyotes.
It's terrifying. It's pitch black. The owls,
like
the owls no one knows where you are.
That sleep in the sand, like those owls.
Oh, right, yeah.
They know where you're at.
Yeah.
So it's like that movie, My Cousin Vinny. With
I know the one you mean, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's got Joe Pesci and what's her name? Anyway, I'll think of her name in a minute. So he keeps trying to find a place to live because he's down trying to represent his nephew who's in some legal trouble, and he's this like new lawyer trying to figure out his way in this backcountry kind of environment. And he sleeps out like in this guy's like country cabin. He's sleeping at the hotel, and the train goes by, and the train whistle, and the owls, hooting at night. And then finally he gets in trouble and has to go to jail. And there's like a whole prison fight and all this stuff. He's like sleeping like a baby, but the rest of like every other of these quiet places in the woods, he's like so uncomfortable he can't sleep. It wasn't until he got into like the prison riot, stuff that he was finally able to sleep. So anyway, that's what your scenario reminds me of.
It's true.
So here's another Gen X thing versus I think modern sort of life is that this is interesting. Same in my world where I grew up. Like when we were kids, kind of out and about doing our thing, that if you're screwing around, like any parent in the neighborhood or any teacher at school, like they have the right to give you a crack and let you know, like you're screwing around, you're gonna, the old saying, you F around, you find out, right? So, Robert he had permission to spank, and that's what did your teachers? Did they ever give you a crack?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh,
or no, not you specifically, but your like kids at your school.
No, I didn't. Actually, one of my teachers had a ruler, and if you were out hand, you had to put your hand out, and she would like smack your knuckles with a ruler. I didn't get that. I got sent out the classroom numerous times, but they used to have a belt and a ruler, and so it was usually the boys that got sent to go get that. And so they would like shove a book down the back of their pants. So if they were going to go and get whacked, that's what it would be. Or the slipper our head teacher had as well. I mean, can you imagine that now? It's like crazy. But yeah, you hit that. That absolutely did happen.
The principal at our school, I never saw it firsthand, but allegedly had a paddle and was authorized to use it. And that was like, don't go down to Mr. Hendy's office.
Right.
Because if you get sent there, it's possible, if not likely, that you're going to get a crack from the paddle.
Right.
Turns out there was some small town controversy, and I hope I'm not spilling all the tea here. I mean, Meatsweats and Menopause episode 8. That Mr. Hendy had some shenanigans with the kindergarten teacher back in the day. So turns out maybe he was using the paddle for other things. I was going to say maybe that's what the paddle was for. It wasn't really for the kids.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, so Dan's joined us. What's he saying? I gotta read this. My body's daughter came home today and told her parents about a kid getting paddled today for stealing from the bookstore. They needed to get the parents' approval. 3 lashings is the limit. Today? Really?
Wow.
This is in Alabama. Holy shit. Well, in Alabama, aren't they old school common law?
They're a little more, they're old school. Yeah, I would say that's a nice way to put it. Yep.
But it's like the actual law, the law of the land is common law, isn't it?
Yeah, they're I'm not sure if that's entirely true, but they're the state that you can get married and just have like a family Bible. They're kind of old school about some of that kind of stuff. Their legalities are a little based on some of the older stuff. But I don't know how expensive that is. Apparently corporal punishment to children is still considered okay with parents' permission, just
right. Wow, that's in this day and age, that's kind of wild.
I'm just going a little crazy with the allergies right now. Sorry, everyone. I feel like I'm like, sorry. Anyway, but yes, the Alabama, like getting cracked. That's kind of wild in this day and age.
It really is. Yeah, but what do you think it works? Do you think it's a good idea? Like, despite like what we grew up with versus what there is now versus what's happening in Alabama, like whatever, everyone's got their own opinion. Like, who actually thinks that it's a good idea for teachers to be able to have corporal punishment, or even parents?
Well, based on the way that I think a lot of the teachers are just they're being asked a lot. That's a deep rabbit hole because you look at classroom sizes now and what teachers are asked to, like, back when we were kids, it might have been 15 or 20 kids in a classroom. Now it's like 30 plus.
Right.
Like, what's a teacher supposed to do? Like, if you've got a couple bad apples in the classroom that are just, maybe talking without their hand being raised. Oh, wait, that was me. I hated sitting in straight rows and raising my hand before I had to speak. It was just like the two worst. And if I want to look outside and check out, the kids playing on recess, like how am I a bad person?
I mean, I don't agree with ruling by fear. I would never raise my kids that way, like in the home. Like, that's just not I don't think anything works by fear. But I think when you have a collective of people that need to control them, like you said, like, in a school area, I think because people will police them. I mean, that's how the government works, right? Is you have all these rules and laws. They're not always enforced, but people will self-police when they're afraid. And I think, things like a really good example of that was like when the whole COVID lockdowns thing happened. Like, people were so afraid that they would self-police. And one of the things that, really made me realize that what I came to realize what my beliefs was flying over all of, like, from Calgary to Phoenix to come and see you. I was flying in a plane when apparently there weren't any flights, but that wasn't the case because I was in a plane. But as I looked down and I was looking at all the land, and as you fly over the different cities and stuff, and you see like the massive land, and you see all of the population, and you see all of the homes and the buildings, and it just occurred to me, I was like, this is so interesting. It's so vast. How can anybody, like what they would say on the news was like, if anybody's got caught with it, like walking around when they shouldn't be out on the lockdowns, or if people, are leaving their homes, things like that. And if that's going to happen, they'll be arrested. And I was like, how are they going to police everybody? How are they going to stop anyone from doing things in their own homes? Because I was looking down, I was like, you cannot do that. I was like, for any amount of population that you have in any given area, whether there's 10 people or 1 million people, like, the percentage of the population is very small that are police. So the police can't possibly catch everybody and watch everybody and everything. Right. So I'm like, so they make these rules and they put all this stuff out on the media that everybody sees and has access to put the fear of God into everybody about stuff. Sure. And then they will self-police. And so I kind of realized all of that when I was flying over it. Sure.
And that's all true, but it all comes down to personal, like, responsibility, right? And your own, like, do you need the police or the government to tell you to be a good person, or even religion or any of that stuff? Like, and who?
No, you don't.
All that stuff.
I'm just talking about schools and the fear of. I just want to keep it down to schools for a minute because that was the original question. I was like, do you think it's good to have corporal punishment in schools? And I think as a kid, the fear of, if you're bad, you will get the slipper or the belt or whatever it was, I think was actually quite a good thing to keep people in line. I mean, there's only a certain amount of time you're going to have before it has to be proven for the kids to realize, like, oh, it's never going to happen. And then, right. I don't know, something happens and they realize it is real.
There's always that one kid that has to take one for the team, right?
Right.
Like the threat is like, one of these days I'm going to send you down to the office, and then poor little Jimmy gets sent down and he gets cracked, and then like comes back with a red ass, and it's like, right. It's true. Everything you've heard is true. Like, I just got wailed on. That
tale will last for another maybe 5 years until all those
the legend of Jimmy. I got cracked. Right. Look at the welts on my ass.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
it's a crazy thing. Yeah, for sure. So, I personally would say that there probably needs to go more into it. It's the old spare the rod. And what is the old biblical saying about like if you don't crack kids, they turn into little punks? I forget the biblical
I'm sure it says
phrase.
that in the Bible.
I'm paraphrasing, right? Yeah, this is my version of the story. But like I think there's something to be said for like discipline and holding kids accountable to things for sure.
Yeah.
But just going around smacking kids with rulers and stuff because you think they got an attitude.
One teacher would just throw the friggin'. You remember we had blackboards? They would just take the board rubber and they were just like it was hard. It was like made
board
of
what?
The board rubber. It was called the board rubber. What do you call it? The board
eraser.
Eraser. Okay.
A rubber is something totally different here.
An eraser is a rubber. People have rubber collections at school.
I'm sure they do.
Anybody English watching knows exactly what I'm talking about. We all had smelly rubber collections, actually, scented rubber. But yes, a board eraser.
Scented rubbers.
Teachers would throw those at kids' heads. So. Right. And that was just because they got frustrated and irritated. Shut up! They would just like chuck it across the room.
Yeah, and everyone's got an iPad, so everything's just done digitally. There's no more, there's no more chalkboard or even whiteboard. And there's no more rubbers or erasers. It's just all done on an iPad, right?
Right. Yeah.
I would imagine there probably still are whiteboards, but I haven't been in school for a long time. So, and good point, Robert. No one's really afraid of their parents anymore. Yeah, same with me. Like if I would be more scared to go home and face the music at home than anything that the school could have done to me because my mom didn't mess around, and I had my grandparents, my mom. It was like this whole council of because I grew up in a small town. It was always just like, remember who you are and don't embarrass the family and all this kind of stuff.
Well, that was a big thing. I think you're right. Like pride was a lot of that. Like nobody wanted to look bad. I think, and that was another reason like where things like therapy was never around when we were kids, because you weren't allowed to ever admit that you would need therapy or would go to therapy, because it means, well, you're a lunatic and you're going into the mental asylum and we don't want to be associated with that. And it's the same thing. If you bring the family name down or make people look bad, our parents' generation were very, very aware and conscious, I think, of their, what's the word? Their
social status or something?
Yeah, their reputation or the way that they dressed.
You
had to look nice and neat and tidy and be respectful. And I mean, there's good things to that, which I think are cool.
That's what, it's like they always say there's something about every stereotype, and that's the boomers have a lot of that sort of stereotype about them of sort of being egocentric. I'm not going to say they're they're just kind of like I was trying to avoid that word, but
egocentric's a good word.
Egocentric. They think of themselves first, outward, and it's like that's the view. It doesn't mean that they're bad people necessarily, but they just have a different kind of around things. Kind of tend to have to go around them as a general rule, but. Yeah, can you believe it? We've managed to navigate an hour of content and entertainment here on another episode of Meatsweats and Menopause.
It remains to be seen if people felt entertained or not, but yes, we can talk for hours.
That's just my hope. I'm not saying that it actually happened. I'm just hoping that's what we were able to do. And always appreciate the support and anyone who tunes in and your comments and your feedback. This is our creative outlet to be able to just stay connected with our friends and family and have some banter, share some old memories, and sort of get into some fun conversations. And so like and share if you feel compelled to do so. And if you've got any ideas for future episodes, would love to have that, as well as anyone. We do want to start getting some guests on. We've talked about it for a few weeks now, but would Dan's looking forward to some Alabama stories from Robert. So I am too, for that matter. I'll sign up for that. That sounds like a good time. What's that? A banjo? I kid. So yeah, but thanks again, everyone. We're gonna have to tap out. I actually have an appointment in a couple of minutes, so I've got to get to work after this.
Yep.
So yeah.
Thank you for watching.
Love y'all.
Everybody.
Thanks.
Great to see you. Yep. We'll see you again. Same time, same place. Let everybody know. And we'll see you again at 6 p.m. MST.
Mountain Standard. Well, we're always Mountain Standard. So we didn't go to daylight saving. So our time shifted for everyone. So But we'll kind of do an update on that.
Love you too, Ruby. All right. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.